Well, hello everybody, once again. Here's another video. Hopefully this one is a little bit shorter than the last one, but for those who've seen my last video will know that this is Dee. I bought her as a 4-year-old right off the track and decided to reschool her for hopefully eventing, but we've done a full year of showing just to try and get her to understand life really and I showcase all of the things that we went through to get her to the point where she ended up at the end of last year. She had been a flat racer and hadn't seen a single fence. And I really wanted to ideally event her, but I knew that might not be something she enjoyed. So I got her out show jumping, taught her how to jump, and got her out to some arena events. And thankfully, I've never sat on a horse so happy as she was here. So it was thankfully looking like she would enjoy eventing when I could get her out this season. But obviously you never know until you start. So if you would like, you can come on the journey with us through Dee's first season of eventing. So here we go, 5-year-old Dee at her very first event, which was at Forgan in April. This is a BE90 I put her in for. The expectations for her were really low. I just wanted her to go out and enjoy eventing. I only had kind of 3 or 4 events planned for her, potentially 5. And it was just to see what she thought of it, whether she enjoyed it, if she started to not enjoy it. In her reskilling and the introduction to jumping, she certainly enjoyed all that, so I was hoping she would really love it. But you just don't know until you try. So her dressage on her first event was actually not bad. It's always her lowest scored place. She scored I think a 37 at this event. And then onto her show jumping, you can see she's still fairly green, she's still finding her feet. We're still at early stages here of jumping this horse. She's still figuring out striding, she's still figuring out what technique she's got over a fence, if any, sometimes. And I'm just trying to teach her to sit and wait on the fence and not to fight. She is super sensitive, so you'll see here, she just gets a little bit argumentative and demolishes the fence. So lots of stuff to work on. Sometimes she's too exuberant, sometimes she's too quiet. There's lots of variation right now in her courses, but I just wanted to get her out and see things. So on to cross country. She'd been cross country schooling, proper cross country schooling, I think twice previous to this. That's all she's done. She's done 3 arena events, and that's all she'd done. So really 5 times going over solid fences, and I couldn't believe how brave she was this day. She was loving life. I mean, you'll see her striding, her, reading of fences isn't happening yet. She is just running at things and jumping. She was so bold, so confident. She really found her rhythm quite quickly throughout this course and was just taking me forward. So that was really nice for her first event. I was delighted with her. 5-year-old horse, first time out doing this. She didn't back off a thing, which was part of the issue. She did just run at everything. But nice to feel how confident she was. It can sometimes be hard to make a horse brave that isn't naturally brave, but you can teach a little bit more technique and a bit more carefulness. Whereas Dee was naturally super brave, so thankfully that's not something we had to teach, but certainly technique still had a long way to go at this point. But attitude, fantastic, couldn't have complained. Still sensitive wee horse, it has to be ridden a certain way. You certainly can't make her do something she would really be offended by that, but that's not my way anyway. I'm more than happy to just help her find the right answers and just tons of praise when she does it, and she certainly thrives when you do that for her. So what a fantastic wee horse, so delighted with her for that first event, no problems at all. Dressage could certainly be improved. We want to jump a clear show jumping obviously, but cross country was brave, so fantastic. So back home again, wanted to jump around a kind of smaller course, just this was about a week or 2 after her event, just to try and make sure I could get her back again, sitting and waiting on the fences. She does have a tendency to try and run on a wee bit and get a bit brave and a bit bold and a bit too forward. So you're certainly always trying to just ask her to sit and wait and relax without upsetting her too much, because she does get quite fussy in the contact and in the mouth. So I was really trying to do as much as I could with my body, trying to sit tall between fences and really ask her to sit and wait, being still with the hand rather than pulling, just trying to give her a bit of support and a bit of consistency through the paces in between fences. But you can see sometimes she did just want to get there and stand off it a little. Yeah. So I really did feel at this point, grid work's the way forward, let's just let her come down a line, I'll let the fences back her off. You will see that did not happen, the fences do not back her off, she just was getting faster and faster and stronger each time she came down, bless her. So just kept working through this, me just trying to sit quietly, trying to sit tall in between, soft over the fences, and just let her find a little bit more of a rhythm, because obviously when it comes to show jumping, rhythm is everything. You have to be able to maintain a solid rhythm and just have the horse relaxed and come to the fences. So that was the struggle at the moment, but don't worry, it's improving every time. So Floors Castle, my favourite event of the year. This is one of the nicest, most beautiful venues, and such a shame that if we'd have known at the time, this is actually the last year this ran, so I'm so glad I could get Dee there just for this one event. Dressage this day was lovely, I was really happy with her. She was getting so much softer through each session of dressage we've done with her. I think she scored maybe a 36 this day, or 37, which is still high considering where we need her to be, but that's because she has these moments, so you can be going so softly so well, and then one thing just unsettles her, usually the canter transition, and she just gets herself all wound up. So she is a hot horse to ride, she can be a little bit on edge, and I'm always just having to sit quietly and try and coax her through things, but yeah, sometimes she just gets a little bit excited, and then once she's in that mode it's quite hard to bring her back. So still proud of her this day. Dressage is by far not her strongest point, but plenty of work to do and still improvements all the time. Show jumping this day, I was really happy with her. She was just starting to figure out how to maintain a bit of a rhythm round. This is by far the busiest venue and arena she has ever jumped in, so I was really proud to feel that she absolutely kept her attention on me the entire time. Again, she had one silly pole here, you just see her drop a leg on it, but couldn't have complained. It wasn't a dodgy fence, she just didn't lift that back leg enough. It was just fine. On to cross country, she was so good this day as well. This was probably the most challenging cross country course she's done actually. Floors is a fantastic course, it is lovely, but it is decent, it's got a couple of good questions on it. So she came round this as brave as anything. Like, I still didn't feel her back off of any fence, but I did feel her just starting to read the fences a little bit better. The only thing she did do here was slightly not sure about the water. It's a big water to walk into, so she did back off that slightly, but came through without any penalties, thank goodness, and brave and bold out. Once she understood the question, she was off. So yeah, just starting to look at fences, read them a little bit more, sit on her bum a little bit and then jump, which was really nice because, you know, the last event she was just running at things, but already she was definitely starting to think about what she was doing. A couple of questions like this, a rail to a ditch to another rail. Previous to that, she'd probably ran through it and been a bit flat, but I could feel her just thinking a little bit more. So every single event I took her to, she definitely just improved each time. And to think this was, you know, such an early stage in her career, then I really can't complain. She's trying so hard. I then went away on holiday for a week and came back to a very chunky Dee. She obviously just enjoyed the good grass coming through, a bit of time off. I gave her a wee spell off just before my holiday and after. And she definitely benefited from that wee break. She came out just feeling nice and settled and secure. Decided to do a little bit more gymnastic jumping with her again, just to try and get her thinking about her feet, get her sitting a little bit, just trying to help her. As I say, her issue is she likes to go long and flat, and she'll just get a bit away from you, especially on her landing point. She can land really long, and then it takes you a while to get her back. So I'm just trying to do things to help her compress her body a little bit, sit and jump from behind. Now, horses all have different strengths and weaknesses, and for Dee, she was just so forward in her brain that was such a nice quality. Forward is really important for so many things, but it can't be to the point where you lose everything else because of the forward. So that's what I was constantly having to just remind her, get her around different courses, different fences, get her seeing different fillers, just different everything, but always saying, just wait, I promise this will be easier for you if you just wait. And this obviously is not a process you can rush. Every horse is different with how long they take to learn that and then convince themselves of it. You just have to give them the opportunity to prove that to themselves and then apply it. you just see Dee starting to realise that, yep, if I sit and I wait and I use my back end, I actually find this job easier, you know. So it was really nice to feel all these things. This was the first working hunter course that I popped around and felt like every single fence she was just reading and waiting on, which was really nice. Still bold when you need her to be, but just concentrating so much more than she was. I then was house sitting for a week somewhere, which gave me this great opportunity to pop around a couple of courses and again just get her thinking, get her sitting, getting her waiting, jumping down a triple at that, which was really nice. And she's certainly, every single jumping session we had, there was just improvements every time, which is lovely to feel, and still enjoying herself. Like, I don't want to curb that enthusiasm at all, because that's what makes it so much fun for her. Forgandenny 2 was our third event. Now, this is the most unsettled she'd ever been in her dressage. I can't remember what she scored, whether it was a 40 maybe, 39 or a 40. But because of all the work we'd done show jumping, her show jumping was lovely. So she did really sit, maintain a rhythm and jump well. Again, there's always seems to be one fence like that she just seems to knock. And after looking back all these videos, actually, I'm realising too, it tends to be something on a related distance or a line where she's jumped one and she's already too busy locking onto the next and she just runs on a bit to the second. So that's something, again, when I start her back in the January or February of the next year, I'll look at doing a lot more work over those type of things. The cross-country side of this was one of my favourite cross-countries we've ever done. She was absolutely reading fences, sitting, calculating what she had to do and then doing it at the fence. I felt as if the maturity of her and the thought process that was happening at each fence was so nice. You'll hear me, I was literally shouting well done at her over every fence. Oh dear, it was so funny. But I just loved it because it just felt so nice to have a horse with really so little knowledge try so hard and really start to figure the job out. That makes everything else so much easier. So really good girl this day. Really enjoyed herself. So again, continuing all this progress with the jumping that was just starting to feel really good. I took her to East Kilbride Agricultural Show and she jumped round the open working hunter class, which was supposed to be, I think it was 95, 100. It was 100 actually, it was 100. And she just maintained this lovely regular rhythm and jumped everything really cleanly. Really proud of her in this class, actually. It felt so nice. She ended up winning the Open Working Hunter horse and went Working Hunter horse champion. So proud of her. She was so good. Just giving me everything that we'd been working on over the summer, and just, you can see still a little bit tossy on occasion, but not a fight anymore. So that was really nice. We also done the in-hand and the ridden racehorse classes, and she had her proper flicky toes on this day. She was just loving life. And bless her little socks, she ended up winning the in-hand horse, winning the ridden racehorse, going ridden racehorse champion, and then she actually ended up, bless her again, because it was a very busy day with lots of lovely horses here, but she won overall champion of show, which was incredible. I did not think for a minute she would have done that, but she was just so good all day and the judges were so lovely about her, and we're just saying that from the minute she came in the ring she just gave her all, and she'd just done that the entire day. She didn't stop trying, so she was such a good girl. I was so proud of her this day. She actually won so many prizes that we were struggling to fit it all in the car to come home, so bless her. We definitely should have just gave up showing after that because we're never going to top it. House sitting again and managed to get another wee jump in before this was now thinking of Blair, which would be about a month to go, which was our last event. So just starting to jump her over things just a little bit bigger, just to make sure that she was still being smart and careful. And I've got to say, at least at home, she's not touching poles now at all. Still seem to have the pesky forefaults out and about, but at home's better. Oh, and yeah, that clip there, she totally locked on to that drop there and jumped up it, which we shouldn't have done, so ignore that, sorry. But it just shows how brave and bold she's getting. She's really looking for things to jump and she's locking on and really keen to do it, but also not running flat. She maintains her canter and maintains her rhythm, but just getting smart about what she does with her feet and smart about how she gets there. So really enjoying her. This was probably about three weeks before Blair. This was our last cross country that we managed to get a wee session in. We were supposed to be out at Warwick Hall, but we missed entries because I am an absolute nightmare and I forget to do entries and end up days pass and before we know it they're full. So we decided just to take them schooling instead. We took Dee and Milo and they were fab. The only thing Dee done again was just this water. She's just backed off ever so slightly coming down the drop once or twice, and I know at this level at 90 she's not going to have to jump into water, but if I can get her confident doing that, it's going to help everything else anyway. This was 2 weeks before Blair now. This was the last jump I gave her actually before Blair because I was away the week before Blair, so this was the last chance we had, and I was so happy with her around this course. She was really careful, sitting well, maintaining a lovely rhythm and just letting me really ride her, so yeah, really good. Blair itself, the dressage, again, not her strongest point for sure, but this was one of her most relaxed tests I think she ever done. I can't quite remember the scores, I should have looked them up, but again I think she scored a 37 here. Not a top score by any means from what most people would be looking for, but just for what I know she's capable of and what I know she's at the level of at the moment, I was really happy with that. She felt settled, she felt relaxed, she was letting me ride her. A couple of moments for sure that could have been improved on, a little bit more accuracy in places and a little bit more relaxing through her back, definitely, but all in all, really happy with that. Her show jumping round was really smooth, felt as if it was really good. She was super careful over everything. Again, there was just that one pesky fence, which is I think the second part of the double she had down, but aside from that, everything felt nice and rhythmic. She was listening. We didn't really have the best warm-up this day because the ground and the warm-up was a bit sticky, but it didn't seem to bother her. She was still happy. She still came out and popped round, no problem. The course was lovely actually, all things considered, and yeah, just a really nice thing to have this wee horse jump round her first BE90 at Blair. It just really felt like a lovely achievement, and just getting there in the first place, I was delighted. That was me, I was happy. I didn't even bother what happened on the day, so yeah, good girl. We just had a wee blast. First proper big away show as well, where she had to stay for the entire week, which was a big change for her, which was a big thing, but coped with it well, didn't give me any trouble at all. And nice for this year round at Blair for me to enjoy it and not be stressed like I was last year when it was just fresh water doing the showing. So on to the cross country. So much fun. She just felt so careful, especially over the first half of the course. She was so full of jump and full of running, but really smart reading the fences and getting herself up out the way. We had the wettest week ever before Blair, so we actually woke up on the morning of the cross country thinking there's no way we should even get this horse ready because it's so wet overnight. We were camping. I just thought it would be cancelled, so they'd done incredibly well to run the event and the horses done really well to jump off it. You can rarely train on bad ground because most places will close their course when the ground's wet, obviously to save and protect that ground, which is totally understandable, but it gives you limited options to obviously expose these young horses to stickier ground. And I'm saying stickier ground, there was 2 or 3 fences that were very sticky, the rest of the ground here was fab, so I really can't complain, but those 2 or 3 fences she had to dig deep. And this wee skinny here was by far the stickiest on the course. It was causing a lot of issues by this point in the day, which was fine, and with Dee's limited knowledge and experience, she just couldn't find ground, which was totally understandable, totally fine. She scrambled over it on the 3rd go, bless her, and then was super bold to the fences after that. And that exposure and that experience will absolutely help set her up for next year, which is super important. All these events this year, the 4 that she's done, this is just about giving her nice, confident, good runs so that next season is even easier for her. Just all experience for her right now. I am not even fussed about that wee run out because she still felt full of running, full of bravery and keen to do the job. She just didn't know how to do it at that fence, which was fine, absolutely fine. So just a few from the end now. By this point I knew there'd be no issues in course. It was all fairly straightforward from there. So just letting her enjoy it really, letting her finish on a really good run. Lots of pats, lots of praise. I probably speak to her far too much throughout the course, but I just can't help myself. Whenever she does something good, I want her to know she's done something good. So yeah, just had a great old time. So first season of eventing, and still obviously tons to work on, tons to improve, but so happy with her. Because we were up at Blair for the week anyway, she was eventing on the Thursday. I entered her for the ROR classes on the Sunday just so that she was doing more than just the one thing. So we just had a spin round that, which was great. She was lovely in the in-hand, came third out of a big class, and then went really well in the ridden and ended up placing fifth as well. But I could not have asked any more of her. She did feel lovely, so absolutely delighted. If you'll have seen my video from last year, you know how much of a meltdown I had before showing her at Blair last year. So this year was so nice just to go and enjoy it and not have any stress and know that she'd behave well. And despite not being big fans of the show ring, she did qualify for Tattersalls and the Caledonian Championships. But I have decided not to go through and do them. She's just now having a holiday. She has had such a good first season, and I want her just to enjoy a good couple of months in the field chilling. So massive thanks for watching once again, and who knows what you'll see us doing next year.